Once upon a time, in a bustling city known for its vibrant textile industry, there were two business partners named Raj and Samir. They had been friends since childhood, their bond forged through shared dreams and countless struggles. Together, they built a garments factory from the ground up, a testament to their hard work and mutual trust. Their company, Threads of Trust, was more than just a name. It was the very foundation of their partnership. They celebrated successes together and weathered storms side by side, promising to always have each other's backs. As the years passed, their factory flourished. The looms hummed with activity, and the vibrant fabrics they produced were sought after across the country. Their success, however, began to cast a subtle shadow. Raj, who handled the finances and administrative side of the business, started to see the growing wealth not as a shared achievement, but as something he wanted more of for himself. A seed of greed had been planted in his heart, and it was beginning to sprout, twisting the roots of their lifelong friendship. Samir, who managed the production and creative aspects, was blissfully unaware of the change in his partner. He was a simple, honest man, whose passion was seeing their designs come to life. He trusted Raj completely, never questioning the paperwork he was asked to sign or the financial reports presented to him. For Samir, their handshake was more binding than any legal document. He believed their shared history and deep friendship were impervious to the corrupting influence of money. But Raj's greed was growing into a monstrous obsession. He started small, manipulating the books to skim a little off the top. He'd create phantom expenses, slightly inflate invoices, and divert small sums into a personal account. These were minor thefts, easily hidden within the complex finances of a large factory. Each time he got away with it, his confidence grew and his conscience shrank. He began to see Samir's trust not as a gift, but as a weakness to be exploited. Soon, small frauds weren't enough to satisfy his insatiable hunger for wealth. Raj hatched a more audacious plan. He wanted the entire factory for himself. He spent weeks secretly consulting with a shady lawyer, learning the intricacies of corporate law and finding loopholes they could exploit. The plan was diabolical. He would systematically alter key company documents, forging Samir's signature and creating a paper trail that would legally transfer the majority ownership and control of the company to himself. The most crucial part of his plan was to gain power of attorney. He drafted a complex set of documents, burying the power of attorney clause deep within pages of mundane operational agreements. One afternoon, he approached Samir with a large stack of papers. He explained casually that these were just routine renewals for bank loans and supplier contracts, just standard procedure to keep the business running smoothly. Just sign here, and here, and here, Raj said, pointing to the signature lines, his voice betraying no hint of his treachery. Samir, trusting as ever, didn't bother to read the fine print. Why would he? This was Raj, his brother in all but blood. He picked up the pen and, with a few strokes, signed away his life's work. As the ink dried, a triumphant glint flashed in Raj's eyes, a look that Samir unfortunately missed. Raj now held all the cards. He had legal control over the company, the bank accounts, and all the assets. He had stolen his best friend's dream right from under his nose. However, Samir wasn't entirely oblivious. In the weeks that followed, he began to notice small, unsettling changes. He was suddenly locked out of the main financial software. His requests for funds for new machinery were mysteriously denied. When he tried to question Raj about it, his partner became evasive and defensive, blaming bank bureaucracy or market downturns. It was then that a quiet, cold realization began to dawn on Samir. He suspected he had been betrayed. Instead of confronting Raj in a storm of anger and accusations, Samir chose a different path. He knew that a direct confrontation without concrete proof would be futile. Raj had the law on his side now. So, Samir decided to play the long game. He pretended to be the same trusting, naive partner he had always been. He remained calm, continued to oversee production, and acted as if he noticed nothing. He observed, he listened, and he waited. This outward calm was his shield, masking a heart broken by betrayal but a mind that was sharp and resolute. With full control of the factory, Raj began to run things his way. He cut corners on quality to maximize profit, replacing trusted, skilled workers with cheaper, less experienced labor. He squeezed suppliers for lower prices, damaging long-standing relationships. He poured money into lavish personal expenses, a new luxury car, a sprawling mansion, expensive vacations, believing his cleverness had secured him a lifetime of wealth. He saw himself as a king in his newly acquired kingdom, completely blind to the cracks forming in its foundation. But the universe has a way of balancing the scales. Karma, as they say, is a patient accountant. The changes Raj implemented began to backfire spectacularly. The quality of their garments plummeted, and their most loyal clients started to complain and cancel orders. The disgruntled, underpaid workers became less productive, leading to missed deadlines. The factory, once a beacon of quality and trust, began to gain a reputation for being unreliable and shoddy. The market, too, seemed to turn against him. A sudden shift in fashion trends made their existing inventory obsolete. A new competitor emerged, offering better designs at competitive prices. The factory, which had been a cash cow, started bleeding money. Profits turned into losses, and soon, Raj found himself struggling to even pay the salaries. The man who had stolen a fortune was now watching it all slip through his fingers. Desperate, Raj started taking out massive loans, using the factory and all its assets, including his new mansion, as collateral. He was convinced he could turn things around, that this was just a temporary setback. But he was caught in a downward spiral. The more money he borrowed, the deeper in debt he sank. The banks began calling. Creditors started showing up at the factory gates, and the pressure mounted until it was unbearable. Raj, the great Manipura, had become a prisoner of his own greed. Meanwhile, what about Samir? After quietly leaving the company he had co-founded, he didn't waste time on bitterness or revenge. He took the little savings he had left, and the one thing Raj could never steal: his talent, his reputation, and his integrity. He started a small workshop in a rented garage, with just a couple of sewing machines and a handful of loyal workers who had left the old factory with him. He named his new venture Phoenix Fabrics, symbolizing a rebirth from the ashes of betrayal. He went back to basics, focusing on impeccable quality, innovative designs, and building strong, honest relationships with his clients and suppliers. Word of his new business spread like wildfire. Old clients, who missed the quality of the Threads of Trust era, flocked to him. His reputation for honesty and craftsmanship was his greatest asset. It was as if a benevolent force was guiding his hand. His business didn't just grow, it exploded. Within a year, his small workshop had expanded into a new, state-of-the-art factory. His designs were winning awards, and orders were pouring in from international markets. He was more successful than he had ever been, not just financially, but in spirit. He was surrounded by people who respected and valued him, building a business on the true foundation of trust he had always believed in. One day, Samir received a call. It was a debt collector, informing him that the old factory, Threads of Trust, was being auctioned off to pay its massive debts. The man on the phone asked if he was interested in buying the assets. Samir paused for a moment, a wave of emotions washing over him. He drove to the old factory. It was a sad sight. The gates were chained, a large for sale sign hanging crookedly. Peering through the fence, he saw Raj. He looked like a ghost of his former self, thin, haggard, and utterly defeated, arguing with the auctioneers. Their eyes met for a brief moment across the yard. In Raj's eyes, Samir saw not hatred, but a deep, hollow well of regret. In that moment, Samir felt no triumph, only a quiet sense of sorrow for the friend he had lost. He turned and walked away, not looking back. He had no interest in buying the carcass of his old dream. He was busy building a new one, a better one. The story of Raj and Samir became a quiet legend in the city's business circles, a powerful reminder that what you give to the world, good or bad, will always find its way back to you. You can't build a lasting empire on a foundation of lies, because in the end, the most intricate schemes are no match for the simple, unwavering law of karma. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. See you in the next video.